It is the limitation of Boolean retrieval model which imposed a challenge to create the new retrieval model, which takes care the different limitations or maybe different internal issues or design issues, you can say, for which we have designed or we have evolved with this new retrieval model called vector space, right? So one of the important or maybe the prominent advantage of vector space is the representation, right? Now, in the case of Boolean, we have observed the representation of query as well as the document collection is purely, the basic text processing based representation. So you can have any data structure, and in these data structure, you can arrange the processed data. So it can be in the form of simple text or maybe in the form of words, right? But in the case of vector space, we have adopted, or it has been proposed that you should have a vector representation instead of textual or instead of any NLP or some sort of surrogate way of representing the data. So here we will be doing two steps. So before going to the representation, first step is to basically naturally to prepare the data, maybe in the form of stems or maybe in the form of root words, and after that these basically, you can say, statistical values has been maintained, that which keyword appears how many times in which document. So for this particular data, we have observed that the vector has been used. So to prepare the data which can be used for ranking or retrieval, we have adapted vector representation of each documents and their respective keywords, right? So this particular representation is a unique, which is proposed in the very first occurrences in the case of vector space uh, retrieval model, right? So that the strength of vector space retrieval model is the representation, right? So once you represent the documents and their respective terms in the form of vectors, you can achieve any different, you can achieve different features of probably the most successful or most efficient retrieval system or retrieval process, right? So it is well known fact that it is designed to overcome the limitation of Boolean retrieval model. That is the first thing. Then we have correctly identified that it is broadly actually achieving three broad or three important features or three important aspect of any retrieval process. First one is it is offering a ranking. Now, in the case of Boolean, it is not available. This feature is not available because Boolean retrieval model says each and everything is matching for us. Either it is matching or it is not matching. So we do not need to perform any ranking. Each and every document which has been retrieved is equally important, is equally relevant. So we are not going to have any ranking mechanism. But in the case of vector space, it has been observed that this vector space is having this privilege or maybe have this capability to have the matching in two levels. First is relevant and second is for partially matching, something like that. So in the case of vector space, the matching term or degree of matching is a little extended. So for that, or maybe because of that only, the ranking is required, because in the retrieved document set you are having relevant as well as partially relevant. So if you have two types of matched results, you need to rank them, right? It is essentially important because user will not be able to identify or spot that which is exactly matched documents and which are partially matched. So for that, you need to have some mechanism to rank the retrieved documents, right? And this is well achieved in the vector space model by using similarity score, right? So eventually, whenever we have query, whenever we have document collection, the first step is to represent them into the vectors. The second step is to deriving some similarity between query vector and document vector. And based on the similarity score means score of similarity between query and a document, right? So naturally, if you have 10 different documents retrieved, each and every document will have different similarity score with respect to user query. So based on that, you can always achieve some ranking. You can always rearrange the retrieve documents based on their similarity score. Right? That's the basic philosophy which is observed in the case of vector space. Now, along with this, there is this second feature which is called weighting. Now, weighting scheme is not observed or not adapted in the case of Boolean. Weighting means whenever a user query term, suppose a user query is having two terms, T1 and T2. Now, we have observed that out of these 10 retrieved documents, naturally we have arranged them, but out of these retrieved 10 documents, the number of occurrences of query term T1 is higher in some documents and lesser in case of some remaining documents. Now, the occurrence of query term is not having any effect in the case of retrieval. In the case of Boolean retrieval, there we have simply retrieved the document based on the assumption that the query terms are available within the document. That's it. The occurrence of any specific document or we're not having any effect in the set of retrieved documents. But in the case of vector space, it has been observed that if a query term is having higher occurrences in some document, that document should be pushed up higher in the relevance or the ranking order, right? So that has been well taken care in the case of vector space. The last thing which is adapted or which is partially included in the case of vector space, it is the relevance feedback, right? So in the case of vector space, Boolean, we don't have any feature, we don't have any scope to incorporate this feedback concept into the retrieval process. It was simply, in the case of Boolean, it was simply a text match based retrieval model. But in the case of vector space, it is clearly possible that we can have additional, additional component. So while ranking, so suppose for ranking you have adapted one similarity mechanism, so that is one component, and for feedback you can have additional component also. So it is like having two scores, right? So one is similarity score, other is relevance feedback score. So because in the case of vector representation or vector space retrieval model, each and everything is arranged in the form of vectors, right? So whenever user is interacting with a document or interacting with a keyword, you can always create a new feedback vector, something like that. So along with the document vector on the terms, you can always create a feedback vector on a keyword within a document, something like that. So you can achieve the relevance feedback and its effect on the retrieval process by having the feedback vectors, right? And that is what we have observed that in the most of the interactive or most of the user-centric information retrieval system, they are having vector space based retrieval model where these things like ranking, weighting, and relevance feedbacks can be easily achieved because the data is the documents in the query are transformed or represented in the form of vectors. So the computation, the estimation is basically a little convenient, little easy, right? So typically, naturally, if you read, if you are really interested, you can always read about what is the vector representation offered to you. So for that, you need to understand what is vector-oriented representations, right? So nowadays it is having a lot of applications, particularly in the non-NLP applications. So if you are working in area where NLP is not involved, for NLP-based systems or for NLP-based application area, it is the first choice you should have. But for non-NLP applications also, nowadays we are having different representations, newly adapted applications also, right? For query and for the stored data. So that's what it is, right? Now, if you see that vector space is a basically symmetrical representation. So between the query terms and the document. So this is what we have partially opened about in the previous lecture also. So here you can see the different documents are now transformed or represented into the form of matrix, where the documents are on the top on the columns and the terms which are written in the row wise. Like you can see, complexity is the first term which is appearing twice in a document 1, thrice in document 3, and 2 times in the document D4, and 3 times in the document D file, right? So this is one of the, you can say the obvious way of representation, where we are keeping the occurrence of each document within occurrence of each term within the documents into the estimation also, right? So this is called term document matrix, and this is typically the representation which we used in the case of index database. So within any kind of index database indexing schemes, this is the way we are keeping the records of, right? So if you are not having vector space retrieval model for your application, for your system, if you're going for any other, like after this vector space retrieval model, we'll be discussing the language based retrieval model. So there are a lot of systems or a lot of retrieval models are available. So whenever we are having index database to support the retrieval process, this is how we are going to represent. So within each index data, this is how you can be arranging the terms, their frequencies within the document, right? So this is sometimes referred as an index database. And now, if you have this arrangement, sometimes it is a little difficult to perform the matching. So we can create the transpose of it and says it is an inverted index, right? So in the case of inverted index, the terms will be going up the column and documents becoming rows, something like that, right? So after this, you can always have this approach to have index or inverted index within the system or within the retrieval model. Now, typically, what a vector representation offers to you, when you have vector representation for your documents and query, it is very clear that in any database or in any data sets, actually, most of the cases it is possible that you will have n number of features, n number of attributes for each data objects. Like one particular data object will have 20 or 30 different attributes. One particular document will have around 20 or 30 or maybe 60 or maybe 100 different keywords, something like that. So that can be easily accommodated basically. So when we have vector based representation, it can be easily transformed, right? So that is the strength of vector representation, you can say. Then whenever we are going to estimate a similarity or maybe closeness or maybe proximity or maybe dissimilarity, it is easier to compute it because the data is always it already mapped into or transformed into form of numerical or maybe in the form of vectors. So there the evaluation or estimation will be easier. The third possible advantage you can have when we have vector based representation, the computation of weighting or maybe relevance feedback factor will be easier, right? So that's what we have pointed out also, that whenever we have this scheme of representation, vector-based scheme, the computation of similarity and the computation of relevance feedback, because it can be it can be also computed with the use of feedback vector. So these are the three prominent advantage. Naturally, you can always have some of the additional advantage by reading or by some understanding. So you can always have, and you should have always this clarity that why vector-based representation is one of the widely used and widely adapted data model for the query and document collection representation. So when you see this query and data representation model, vector space is one of the prominently elected or selected model for the application design. Now, one of the example we have also well taken, that for a document collection, like if we have 4 documents, you can always have this representation, right? And this is inverted index because we are keeping the documents and the different terms which are appearing in the different within this particular document. Now, similarly, you can always represent a query also. So these documents or these informations are taken from one of the textbook for the search system. All right. So these things we have partially touched upon, which says that okay, theoretically you can have t-dimensional matrix whenever we have t number of index terms, because if you in the document collection, if you have 100 or 1000 documents, you should always go up to the maximum size of a maximum number of terms within a document. So suppose the document D15th is having 1000 documents or 1000 terms. you should have always that length of matrix or vector space or vector representation, right? So this is it, and then we have this is how we have finally represented also. And now we are going to have little discussion on how similarity distance can be utilized and what are the similarity measures, because eventually in the case of vector space representation, once we have this document vectors, so for each document we will have vector. So once we have derived these vectors uh, for the documents, e-documents, whenever user submitted a query, the first task is to transform that query into the form of query vector. So once you have both vectors, query and document vector, the probably last task is to compute or to estimate the similarity. That's it. So that's the last step for it. And based on the similarity score between the user query and each document, you can select that these maybe p number of documents are matching or relevant for user query, and remaining are not matching or non-relevant kind of thing, right? So you have to decide which similarity measure is important, which similarity will offer good results for me. That's one part. Second, what is the level of similarity which I will be considering as a benchmark, because here you do not have the exact measure that okay it is matching or non-matching. But in case of vector space, we have to decide what is the level of similarity score will be the decider that all the documents which are having similarity score point 0.56 is the last level or the least level. Higher than that are matching, lesser than that are non-matching, something like that. So it depends on the settings, user settings you will be creating. So in the case of vector space based, where we adapt the similarity score based schemes to compute the similarity between user query and document, you have to decide the similarity measure, which measure you have adapted. That is first thing. Second thing, the level for which you have said that okay, above than this score, all the results will be relevant or required. Remaining will be considered as a non-relevant. So these two decisions are very important. Now, so let's take the very first decision, which is which similarity measure is good or bad for me, or for maybe for my system. Now, if you understand what is the similarity measure, so naturally is the objective of any kind of similarity measure is to identify the closeness or the similarity or the proximity or between the query and the document vector. So vector term is written with the intention that we are using it for vector representation, vector data representation, right? So what particular similarity measure is offering to you? So basically a similarity measure is nothing, it is a numerical measure, and it estimates that how two data objects, so data objects could be vector, it could be document, it could be anything, how two data objects are alike, or how two data objects are close, how much close they are, or how much similar they are, right? And basically it offers, or it says that when similarity measures are higher, objects are more alike, two documents are similar, right? So when two documents are similar means if you have query vector and document vector, when we have higher similarity score between query and document, it means the document is very close or very similar or very alike to the user query, right? The score of this similarity measure usually falls between the range of 0 to 1, and basically you can always use any kind of similarity measures or similarity index to identify the similar, or means when we say similar, it means there is a possibility that two documents are duplicate. So you can always identify the duplicate objects within the collection by using these similarity measures, right? That's the one typical use case. Now, equivalent instances are sometimes considered as a non-redundant and important. So if you want to identify the equivalent instances, or the sometimes it is said as k nearest neighbor or similarity search. So all those scenarios can be easily identified by using the similarity measures. Similarly, you can, if you want to actually want to create some groups or maybe clusters or on the classes, you can always have these similarity measures. So most of the application domains where classification and clustering and grouping, all these things are required, we used to use some sort of similarity measures, right? So it could be a distance measure, or it could be a probabilistic similarity measure, something like that. So again, so if you see the, I mean, the second concept, which is just opposite to the similarity, which is called dissimilarity measure, and it is primarily used to estimate or identify how two different are, or two objects are different. So dissimilarity, I means we are trying to identify that which two objects are false apart. So to estimate that, dissimilarity measures has been adapted. Now basically, if the scores of them are lower, it means the two data objects are dissimilar to each other. Naturally, the range of any dissimilarity measures are basically beyond this 0 to 1, which is, in the case of similarity, it is between 0 to 1, and all the ranges beyond these, between 0 to 1, are falling into suitability, found suitable for the dissimilarity measures. And that's why it is written that it is often 0, while the upper limit varies depending on how much variation can be. So it is like I mean 0 to minus infinity, and 1 to something like that. So the upper limits can be always defined based on the requirements. Now, where it can be used, so broadly it can be used for the identification of outliers, because outliers are the objects widely observed when basically it is not having any similarity with the most of the objects in the class, most of the objects in a group, most of the objects in the collection. So outliers are the exceptional objects. So whenever you want to identify the outliers, you can always use the dissimilarity measures. Whenever you want to identify the interesting exceptions, right? So there also you can use, so exceptions, interesting exceptions, it is contradictory, but in the some of the research area, it is a very important notion. Now, if you want to identify the boundaries for the clusters, so like in the case of clustering is one of the non-supervised approach where we are trying to identify the groups or the objects which are falling into the groups. But in some case, it is very difficult to deriving the boundary of a cluster, right? Which objects are useful for deriving the boundary. So sometimes it is very difficult. So for that purpose also, we can use this dissimilarity measure to identify the different basically objects of in the boundary for a cluster, and based on that you can define the cluster. Now if you see for any kind of such system, we cannot use dissimilarity measures, because the approach for any retrieval process or any retrieval system is to identify the relevant documents, not exception, not outliers, not boundaries, something like that. So basically, in the most of the applications for the search system or information search, or maybe data science or something, most of the cases it is the similarity measures which are widely which it is widely adapted now. So broadly, if you read out the literature, you will find that the similarity measures are kept into the three broad types, three broad categories. The first one is called distance based, and this is the first generation of similarity measures which has been adapted, right? So distance based is typically tries to identify the distance between two or maybe set of different set of data objects. Minimum the distance the two objects are similar, something like that. So notion is like that. But again, if you have vector representation on the data and query, you need to identify the distance by using the formulations. So primarily, yes, there are various distance measures have been proposed, but two are the prominent: Euclidean and Manhattan distance. So for them, there is a specific mathematical expression has been proposed. You can use it, you can implement it, and there are various various functions are available through which you can customize also. So for your application domain, you can customize based on their understanding. So the first category for the similarity based measures are distance based, and within that we have two types, two broad or two prominent type, which is Euclidean and Manhattan. Naturally, for the if you observe their functionality, their limitation, Euclidean is having some strength and Manhattan is having different strengths. So most of the cases are read that Euclidean distance is suitable for NLP based application. So if you have text processing involved and you are going to evaluate the similarity between the text data, text to text similarity, it is observed that Euclidean is more compatible, more suitable, more robust, because robustness of similarity measure is one of the criteria, one of the typical factor which affects the overall performance, right? So that's why it is said for NLP based system design, Euclidean is preferred. But in the case of non-NLP, where NLP is lesser required or lesser utilized, then you can go for Manhattan based similarity estimation. Then the second type of similarity measures are type of called probabilistic based, probability based. There they are estimating the probability of similarity, something like that. So they are having this approach that the most the similar objects will the higher value of probability, right? So they will be appearing in the closer neighborhood. So probability is coming because they are assuming that most of the similar objects falling into the neighborhood. So based on that estimation, they are computing the probability score. So like we have heard the term called cosine similarity, then we have Jacquet similarity. So these different notions have been proposed in the last around 25 years, and based on their limitations, they can be adapted for different application domain. They are again having different mathematical functions, mathematical expression for each and every similarity measures. You can go through them, and you can use them for your applications. But in the case of vector space, cosine similarity is mostly preferred, right? Because of its robustness and because of its the simplicity for the vector representation. So basically, after this probability based feature probability based similarity estimation, the last type of similarity measures are called feature based, which is not recently, but it is recently explored. It is sometimes called multi-dimensional similarity also, and it is sometimes said as a proximity also. So feature based similarity measures are referred as a multi-dimensions, and there we are having this balance. So it is kind of hybrid way of computing the similarity, and because it is hybrid, it is a little complex to implement, and it is having its own complication for the design. So because in the case of feature based similarity, you have to utilize two different notions, like you can have Euclidean and you can have cosine. So now you are going to combine them in some arrangement, right? Maybe additive form, maybe multiplicative, maybe rational, something like that. So you can have your own arrangement to derive the score for your system. Because in the case of, in some cases of research, it is observed that the feature based similarity is required. Like in the case of recommender system, nowadays, if you're going to read the literature, if you're going to observe the challenges of recommender based systems, this feature based proximity or feature based similarity is one of the dimension which is now going to have a lot of implications, right? Because we are getting a lot of user centric data in the case of recommender system. So you can utilize these recommendations or reviews or maybe feature based information to compute the similarity, feature based similarity. So there you have to have a multi-dimensional naturally vectors, but on top of these vectors, you will be calculating the feature based or multi-dimensional similarity by combining these two notions, distance based and probabilistic based, in some arrangement, right? So this is something which is recently gaining interest of a lot of researchers, and they have started exploring this possibility that how we can achieve a new similarity measure for computing the scores of similarity between document and data object, right? So that is it for today's class. So if you have anything to raise, you can discuss, and if you have any request or any requirement from your side, you can let me know, right? Thank you.